What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Fleetwood Trades Crypto. Today's video might be my most important broad market analysis for the entire crypto market. So I'm not going to get into any specific coins per se, but we're going to talk about Bitcoin, we're going to talk about the general market, and we're going to talk about how history doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. So we're going to hop right in, but before I do, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. It is all extremely helpful. And if you want to, follow me on Fleetwood Trades because I've already made a Twitter post or an X post about this topic, kind of getting into what it's going to be. But first, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin on the weekly time frame still actually looks bullish. And I mentioned this yesterday that if this weekly candle simply filled this fair value gap here, so we had this is a pattern called three white soldiers. So it's 3 consecutive bullish weeks. This second week created a fair value gap. There was no selling down, there was no wick down or wick up this whole area here. And then what do we get? At a resistance level, we get a come back down, filled the fair value gap, and now price is starting to bounce back up a little bit. I'm not saying it's going to bounce out of here right away. I'm not saying anything, but I just want to show you guys analysis and potentialities of where this could go early on in the month of October because of historical events. If this does close the week either in here or above here, above this fair value gap, then we are looking very bullish. We will likely break out of this resistance. We'll break out of this consolidation period very quickly, and then we're off to the races. If we close below, then within the next week or two, we could likely come down and test the lower bounds of this level. Now, this is going to put a lot of people into a panic, and I want to prevent that panic because regardless of what happens, if we go down to 49, 48,000 and alts drop back down again, and alts could get hammered if this happens. It's a potential. It's not the most likely potential, but it is a potential that you'll see altcoins go lower than what you've been buying for in the past 2 to 3 months. And I've been making videos for about 2 or 3 months now saying, hey, this is a great accumulation period. Alts are at an all-time low, or not all-time, but they're at the cycle low. Many coins are at very low points. You can get very good prices. They might fall through that briefly. Every big run needs a catalyst. Everything needs a catalyst. And with that said, you see this pattern, and if we go all the way back to 2020, what you'll see is we made a very, very similar pattern here, right? And we attempted to break out of the top side. Then we had the COVID shutdown that spiked us down below, wicked us way down low. And actually what that wick did was filled an earlier fair value gap that was here. Wicked us all the way down, and then we got our catalyst. This was our liquidation event. This was our liquidity event to get the prices to run up. Now that, coupled with interest rates falling and coupled with a bunch of different things with injections of money, injections of capital, that's what happened there. But even if you look at last October, we had the first 2 weeks of October, Bitcoin dropped 7%. Let me zoom this in a little bit. So October last year, we had a very similar situation. October 7th, we had terrorist attacks on the music festival, and then we had retaliation, then we didn't know what was going on, and uncertainty. Uncertainty is it's the worst thing for the markets. Bad news, good news, doesn't really matter too much. Uncertainty is the enemy of the market. So right now, what do we have? We have rising tensions. We have missiles being launched from Iran. We have an East Coast port strike where we don't know if people are panic shopping and trying to get loaded up because we don't know when the port's going to reopen. So October, what's going on with October? We're starting with a downturn. We've got to pick up liquidity. Was there enough internal liquidity in this fair value gap? Potentially. But there's also a potential to come all the way down to get to this fair value gap. And we bottom this pattern out about 47, and then we're off to the races. The biggest reason why I'm telling you this whole thing is because your alts are going to follow what Bitcoin does initially, and they are going to slingshot. If Bitcoin goes down 10%, you're also going to go down 25 to 40%. If Bitcoin starts to go up by 10 to 20%, if it starts to break out and go parabolic, your alts are going to go extremely parabolic, and that's going to be your 10, 20, 30 extras right then and there within the next 2 to 3 months. But both of these potentials are there. And if it follows this down and hits this fair value gap at a minimum drop down to 47.5, then that would also mimic what happened at the start of the last run in March of 2020. Now we're a little bit behind time-wise, but the economics, the broader macroeconomics are showing a very similar pattern. And this is a waiting game now. I'm waiting for either a weekly close above this fair value gap and hopefully a break of this resistance, and then that I just hold. At this point, I'm just holding what I have and we ride out what we have. If we come back down and touch this level, I find a way to get more, and we are loading up bags. Pika might go back down to the phase 1 price. Gaming may go down 0.0006, 0.0005, who knows. Nexera might drop down below 2 cents. Shadow token, Shadow Drive might drop down below 25 cents. Who knows? But these moves, these flush outs do not change the fundamentals and the analysis that you've done to buy the tokens that you have conviction in. Hold your convictions, hold strong. If you can't buy more, don't worry about it. This is a short-term blip in the grand scheme of things. So with that being said, guys, that's it for the day. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something from it. And the biggest thing I can say for you guys to take away from this video, hold strong to your convictions. These short-term moves will not change what your long-term potential is. If you bought Pika Moon between 0006 and 0003, you're in the driver's seat either way. It doesn't matter what happens in the next month. Think about the next year. That's your goal. What is the next year? The next year is going to be 10 to 25 cents. Again, guys, stay safe out there. Hold on to your convictions. As always, until next time, peace.